Welcome back to Toledo Clinic TV. My guest is Nancy Flaherty, and she's a registered dietitian. This is something that we all need to be paying attention to because the holidays have come and gone, and we're trying to get back on track for the new year.
Right.
What are some of the most basic tips that you can give in terms of healthy eating and staying the course? Well,
one of the things is not to get down on yourself. Just remember the holidays are fun. Everybody enjoys different foods. They go to parties and they, get upset with themselves. Now it's just time to get back to the basics. Go back to eating 3 meals a day, very important. I know a lot of people think that they should skip meals and I just won't eat all day and maybe I can lose some weight. Get back into an exercise plan. It's recommended that most people should at least get 150 minutes a week of exercise. You can spread it out throughout the week, but try to get some exercise in. And I know the weather's not the best at this time of year, but you can still go out and walk and bundle up. There's a lot of places in the city that offer, fairly decent prices for going to a gym. And then try to start eating, 5 small meals a day that are very healthy. Get back to fruits and vegetables. It's not that you can't have a cookie here and there. I know a lot of people talk about good foods and bad foods. Really what it is just getting back to basics, making sure you get fruits and vegetables in, and get some exercise in, and don't get down, just get back to just eating healthy foods.
And it's hard to do because we're all so busy. We're running from one thing to the next, and so it's easy to just run through a drive-through.
Very easy.
So what advice do you have on maybe some portable, healthier foods, some planning ahead that might help?
Right. And if it depends on what you do at your work. If you can bring a lunch, you can always just pack a healthy lunch. If you're going through a drive-through, I always say you don't have to get French fries. You can get a hamburger. You can get a diet drink, something on that order to get through the drive-through. What happens is a lot of people go through, and once they see all that food, they mega size everything, and they end up eating things that there are some choices right now that you can go through a drive-through and get and really kind of keep your calories under control. I'm not recommending them. If you can pack something, if you can put some healthy snacks, some granola bars, some fruit, things with you to take to work. The big thing right now is eating nuts. Nuts are high in vitamins and minerals and folic acid, and I know everybody thinks that nuts are very high in calories and they shouldn't eat them, but actually they are a healthy fat, and they have a high satiety level, so people that eat nuts lots of times before their meals have a tendency not to eat as much. So they're a good snack food. And
you've talked about portion control or mega-sizing things. How important is it to really watch the amount of food that you're eating, not just what you eat?
Right. What I tell a lot of people that are trying to lose weight is we're all going to go out to eat. This is not going away. We eat more now than we ever have. And what do they do to get you to come back is they give you a huge plate of food and it's very hard to not want to sit down and eat the whole thing. So my suggestion always is grab a to-go container when you sit down. So then you take part of your food, put it in the container, so you're not so tempted to eat the whole thing off the plate. And be careful if they ask you what kind of a choice you could have between a vegetable and a fry or something like that, order the vegetable. I know it's not as much fun, but if you want to lose some weight, that's the best way to do it. And make sure that's portion control right there, getting it to go. Don't eat your whole meal. They just, they have such huge portions at meals these days, unless you can get a child's meal, but then they charge you more lots of times.
And you said it's okay once in a while to have a cookie.
Yes.
How do you then show self-restraint to just eat one cookie, for example?
Well, yes, and that's hard to do. And I know that a lot of people will say, if I have a pan of brownies in the house, I can't stay away from them. And a couple of things is out of sight, out of mind. Put them in the freezer, so you have to wait for them to thaw out to eat them. Take one out and have one, and go on with what you're doing. But if they're sitting there right in front of you, for anybody, unless you like them, but I always say try to buy the things that you don't like as well. You have a tendency not to eat them as much. That's what I do. If I buy chocolate chip cookies, one of my favorites, I'll sit there and just kind of, everybody likes those. So it's better just to not have that many around, but if you do, don't beat yourself up because you had one. But sometimes if you just put them in the freezer or out of sight, it does help.
It's just being very mindful of what you're eating.
Yes, absolutely. And it's hard to do because what do we do right now? We're all focused on food. That's the biggest control issue that we really have. I can, do something about my food intake. So that's hard. But I think restraint and being careful with everything that you eat. Think about, planning, what you had said, planning your meals, making sure when you go to the grocery store that you pick out healthy foods. Just don't go down the aisle that they like to have you go down with all the junk and the potato chips and things like that. Try to really stay in the vegetable fruit area and the low-fat dairy, and have those for snacks.
Good advice. Thank
Yeah,
you so much.
You're very welcome.
Back in just a moment.